I suppose I heard about Dante when I was about 14 or 15. I had a fantastic art teacher at school, and he would make all kinds of classical references all the time, and of course he would then have to explain what he was talking about, and Dante obviously was part of that discourse. But I didn't read Dante's Inferno, no, or rather the Divine Comedy. I've read parts of it since, but not when I first heard of it. It's not been a thing that's ever occupied my mind as an interest until it was mentioned to me by Matthew that we might do something for this show. I'm more of a Shakespeare man. Rebecca and Matthew were talking about this special celebration of Dante and his Divine Comedy, and I'm up for anything. So I thought, yeah, let's see what I can do about that. From a visual point of view, it works itself. I mean, there's hell, there's purgatory, and there's heaven, and there's colours associated with that. So it wasn't a difficult thing to imagine. Hell is red in my mind. It's the fire, the lake that burns with fire and sulphur. So it's red, obviously. And purgatory, it's neither one thing or the other, so it's a sort of in between the two, and heaven has to be blue, I would have thought. It was my instinct to make heaven blue, and I've noticed in the show lots of people are using blue, so it's obviously something that people instinctively feel. The sky is blue, of course, but a flame has a red bit, a yellow bit, and a blue bit in it, so that's why this print is the way it is. Well, I start with titles. The titles are all real titles. They're all to be found in the British Library or the Library of Congress, or I've even looked at the Russian National Library at times, which is difficult because it's in Cyrillic, but still possible. So titles are the basis for the work, and then I have to go about inventing a book that title can appear on. In the catalogues, it's just text. Well, actually, it's not just text. It used to be just text, but more recently, the British Library show little pictures of the covers of books, not the spines, though. So, I don't know what the original book looked like, unless it happens to be a book that I've seen on a shelf somewhere, but that's very rare. So I have to invent the book spine, what it might look like. I have to choose typography that's of the period or seems right for the date that the book was released. I have to make it worn. If it's a book that's 60 years old, it's not going to look pristine, so I spent hours making little worn bits and hairy bits and so on. Make sure that the text sits properly on the actual spine. You can't just put lettering on, it looks like it's floating. You have to embed it, little shadows, little highlights and so on. So I spent hours and hours and hours doing that, and I do one book at a time. And then I put it virtually on the shelf and do the next one.